Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Almost Normal. There comes a point in every semester at college where I feel like I start to lose my mind slightly, and this semester that time has come prematurely, I would say. I've been back to school since summer for about 3 weeks, I think, and I genuinely feel like my mind is scrambled eggs at the moment. And this usually happens like close to the end of the semester when everything sort of seems to be piling on at the same time and Christmas is coming or summer's coming and I'm getting stressed because, I have to get everything done. But for this semester, it seems to have come early. I'm like typically quite an anxious person. Typically, I'm constantly thinking about something typically bad, typically. I'm usually very focused on something, not always in a positive way, but I am like mostly thinking about something. I'm mostly thinking about my surroundings. I'm like very aware of everything going on around me, a little too aware, and I'm just like an anxious person, and I feel like I always have my eyes peeled for danger, and I'm just like always on alert for everything happening around me. So when I feel like I'm losing my mind slightly, what happens is I become sort of like asleep in day-to-day life. I feel like I go on auto mode and I'm just going through life and I'm like hardly thinking about anything that I'm doing. I feel like I'm just like floating through the days and things will happen and I don't even realize they happen. I'll like drive home from school and I don't even really like remember the drive home because I'm like feel like I'm literally on autopilot and I tend to lose things a lot. I tend to forget things a lot. I feel like that panic inside me that is probably quite helpful for my survival dies. It just disappears absolutely completely and I'm just like a feather like blowing in the air trying to get shit done, and it's happening already. I don't like being an anxious person. I hate it. It's horrible. It's so tiring constantly thinking about bad stuff, about things that are worrying you. Like, it gets really tiresome really quickly. And so, in a way, these moments where I feel like I'm genuinely losing my mind, they are quite nice for me because I don't have that sort of panic buzzer like constantly going on in my brain. But I will say that it's pretty hard to live like a normal human being when I'm like this. I'm just totally like letting the wind take me where it may, and I'm super forgetful and just like not really with it. It gets a bit messy and it's super dangerous that this is happening at the beginning of the semester, especially this semester because I have a really big show coming up in a month. It's come so fast, but I have this huge mid-res show in a month that basically dictates whether I graduate from this year. And if it doesn't go well, like I have to redo this year, and that is terrifying, and I definitely don't want to do that. So going like to La La Land right now is not okay. It's not an option. It can't happen, and I need to snap out of it like immediately. A few things have happened where I'm like, oh, okay, this is that point in time where I start to go a bit loopy. But then the other day, something happened and I was like, okay, yes, I've completely gone insane. Because this is not something that I would typically let happen ever. But I was driving to school one day. It was yesterday or the day before? I think 2 days ago, I was driving to school and I had a really important meeting with my professor at 10:30 a.m. So I'd gotten up early, got all ready to go, got all my things together. I was sort of like with it at that point of the day. And I got my car and I started driving. And my car is super old. It's from 2006 and it has a few little problems with indicators or like telling me when it's low on gas or anything like that. And it's one of those cars that when it looks like it's like slightly on empty gas, like it'll still run for hours. So I saw that it was slightly low on gas, but I was like, being a little bit like airy-fairy, sort of like not too panicked about anything, not really thinking of the consequences of literally anything. I started driving and I got like halfway to school and I was in the fast lane, speeding down, on my way, feeling so prepared and ready and early for my meeting in the morning. And all of a sudden my car just stops driving in the middle of the freeway, in the fast lane. And this has never happened to me before, ever. This was a completely new, terrifying experience. I think it's one of the scariest experiences ever because I was on my own. There was no one I could turn to for help, which I usually try and do when things like that happen, especially when it comes to like cars or electricity or anything like that. I am absolutely helpless at all of that, technology, all of that stuff. But I was all on my own in the middle of, I don't even know where I was. I looked at the map and I think I'd stopped in some place called Mission Hills, which I'd never been to before. I was genuinely like, my drive from home to school, I go through a lot of places that kind of seem like the middle of nowhere a bit. A lot of places you would expect like quarries to be. Anyway, I stopped in the middle of the freeway and I was like, holy shit, what's happened? And I was like, it can't be the gas because it always runs on this amount of gas. And I just like didn't think about it. And I guess I didn't like consider how long it had been telling me that it was low on gas. I think that's where I fucked up. I probably underestimated the amount of time it had been yelling at me to put gas in the car. But anyway, I managed to get my car off onto the side of the freeway and I called my husband and I was like, holy shit, my car just stopped in the middle of the freeway. Like, what do I do? And he was like, is there gas in the car? And I was like, it says it's low gas, but like it always runs on low gas for hours. And he was like, how long has it been on low gas? And I was like, I don't really know. Though this was like one of the scariest moments ever, I was like weirdly calm. Another indication of me when I start to lose my mind a bit. I just am weirdly calm about everything, which is honestly quite nice. Like, there are some good parts to me going insane, and that's one of them. I didn't panic. I was just like, oh dear, what do I do now? And I was like, it's not the tow, it's not the tow, it's not the gas, it's not the gas, it always says it's low gas, it always works, it's not the gas, I think my car is broken, there's something wrong with it. I had to get on the phone to my mechanic and be like, I need an emergency appointment because something is wrong with my car. I'd put coolant in it like a week before and it kept telling me I needed to put coolant in it. So I think in my head I was like, it's telling me this thing's wrong with the car. It's probably broken. Like, it probably just like shut down completely on the side of the freeway. Anyway, I call a tow truck. The guy comes out and he looks at the car and he's like, I noticed that it's like low on gas. And I was like, yeah, I don't think it's that though, because honestly it runs on low gas for ages. And then he was like, how long has it been low on gas? And I was a little bit like unsure, let's just say. But the tow guy was so nice and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna just give you a ride to the gas station and we're gonna just see, and if not, then I'll just take it to your mechanic and they'll figure it out there. And I was like, okay, like, it's not the gas, I really don't think so. Okay, so whatever, we get there, he puts gas in and it's completely fine. It works, I just drive off. And luckily I had like broken down right by an exit that was like, the minute you got off the exit, there was a gas station right there. So I think he gave me a ride. I think we drove in the car for 30 seconds, I think. So I felt stupid and bad. I was like, I am so sorry that you came all this way out here for nothing. He was like, it's totally fine. Like, shit happens. Like, just be happy that your car isn't broken and it's just the gas. And like, in my head, I was like, slightly like, I am praying my car is broken because otherwise I'm gonna be so fucking embarrassed. And anyway, I was indeed embarrassed. I literally couldn't look him in the eye. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, he towed my car up onto the truck and then he had to like put it back down on the street and I just drove off. And I was like, okay, I feel like my usual anxiety-ridden mind would not let that happen. Usually I would not let anything like that happen. So yeah, that was a big indicator that I was starting to lose my marbles slightly. I was like, fuck, I cannot be living like this right now. I can't be living like this right now. I have so much shit to do. I have a huge show in a month and I have multiple other classes that I need to do homework and stuff for and reading. I can't be losing my shit right now. This is not the time. Like, give me another month and then I can start losing my shit. That's fine. But right now is not the time. Like, please don't do it. I think what happens, I'm not sure, but I think it feels like my brain gets overheated and overrun by like all the anxiety that I am typically experiencing, and then at some point it just like shuts itself off, like survival mode kind of thing, and it's just like, nope, we're not doing this anymore. Like, you can survive, you can eat, drink, go to sleep, but we're not gonna do anything crazy, you know, mentally. So it just like goes bye-bye. I am not in the position for that to be happening, so I have to try really, really hard to turn my brain back on. I'm not 100% sure how to do it. Usually it's not this desperate for me to do it, but right now we're in a emergency situation. Like, we need to get it back. It needs to come back immediately. So anyway, just a little update on how I'm doing mentally. But you know what, it could be worse. Like, I could physically get sick. A lot of people, when they get stressed, get really run down and then they get ill and have to stay in bed. Like, I don't do that. I just do this weird loopy brain thing where I don't know where I am, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know what I have to do, and I don't even really care. So yeah, I guess I'm lucky in one way that that's all that really happens, but it is interesting. It happens every single semester. I feel like I'm just sort of floating around. I don't know why. I don't know. I think it's my body literally going into survival mode. It's like, I can't worry anymore, Rita. Like, you have to calm down, and then it just like forces me to calm down. Yeah. Update on my mental condition. My hair is being troublesome. Like, I think I'm starting to go natural because I can't bleach it any longer, because I went to the hairdresser and she was like, your hair is so damaged, I can't put bleach in it anymore. Like, we can, but it's just going to start falling out. So I'm on a little bit of like a going back to natural journey. I don't know if I'm going to go fully natural. I'll probably do like highlights or something, but at the moment, this like root situation and then the blonde is just like killing my soul. I absolutely hate it. It makes my hair look like it's always greasy. And also I'm putting all these masks and stuff in it all the time, so it might actually be a little bit greasy, because I'm like on a rampant journey to get my hair healthy again, because like the last thing I want to do is cut it all off. I've done that before. When I had a nervous breakdown this one time, I cut all my hair off so short that she actually had to shave the back of it because my hair was so short. I don't quite want to do that again, and I don't think I'm gonna have like a huge, well, I hope that I won't experience another Menti B like that for a while, because that was horrifying. But I don't really want to cut my hair. I love having long hair. But yeah, sorry. I just was like, my God, my hair looks absolutely horrendous. And I feel like in every podcast episode I have a problem with my hair. So I think it's on my mind. But I think I need to just put some highlights in it. Anyway, this is so boring. But yeah, I don't, it looks like horrible. I wish I had, oh my God. See, I have a new insecurity all the fucking time. I have a new insecurity all the time. And I'm that's not saying that my hair is my current insecurity. Like, I have many others. I have thousands of insecurities about my body, but my head seems to be one that is like on my mind a lot recently. And I keep doing this every episode. I keep doing this. Like, stop moving, just stop it, just stop it, just stop it. Okay, I mean, yeah. Oh God, it's annoying. That like slightly takes me on to the topic I kind of wanted to discuss today. I was at dinner the other night. I was with a woman, a beautiful woman, not just me and her. It wasn't a date. This was like a group of people. She just happened to also be there, and she was talking about these films that she was producing and the films that she was acting in, and she was really excited about all her like career ventures and stuff, and it was like so nice to hear. And I had actually forgot that she had a kid, and it really got me thinking, and I felt very, very inspired by her. And it really, really started to get me thinking about this pressure that women have to like have it all, like whatever that means. I would like to start off by saying, like, having it all, I don't actually quite understand what that means, because it's like each person wants different things in life, so it's like having it all to one person is going to look completely different to having it all to another person, but I think there's this like weird societal expectation that women should look great all the time. They should have children, but not too many and not too little. Like 3 or 4 is probably the sweet spot that society sees. And we should have a great career, and we should not rely on our husbands to bring in the money, otherwise we're known as gold diggers. But then if we're too obsessed with our careers, we're not focusing on the kids that society also told us that we had to have. So then we're bad parents, and we're like work obsessed. And then if you don't have kids, God forbid, you don't have children, you are like a crazy cat woman is like the new thing people are saying. And not people, like annoying people in society are sort of coining the crazy cat lady phrase, as women who do not have children and just have animals as kids. We can't win, is what I'm trying to say. Like, having it all in society's views, I think, I was Googling it because I actually really wasn't sure, but what Google was telling me was that having it all consists of a good career, kids, marriage, and a conventional marriage at that, by the way. Looking thin, looking healthy, always having their makeup done, not looking a mess, cooking dinner every night, like no takeout, how dare mothers get takeout for their children. I think that was it. And just like being the best mom ever, but also having like a thriving career and being a great wife to their husband, but also not like relying on that husband for all the money, because otherwise, again, yeah, you're a gold digger. And that mentality, I feel like that mentality has been holding me back for such a long time, that women have to prove things to the world, that we are the best of the best at every aspect of our lives. And then for men, it's like if they're thriving in one part of their life, like people praise them. That's all great. They have a lot of money. People are like, wow, they're a great dad. People are like, wow. But like people aren't expecting men to have all of those things lined up at the same time. For some reason, it's just like on the women. I don't know why. I find it very, well, I know it's extremely problematic for people to make other people feel this way. To make women feel like there's this insane pressure on them to succeed at every aspect of their life with flying colors. I think that the pressure that is putting onto people, women, is makes people like not want to do anything with their lives. Because I think the problem is, if you're successful at one aspect of your life, whether it's being a mother or whether it's having a job or whether it's like looking 30 when you're 50 or whatever. Oh, my delivery's here.
Someone is at the front gate.
I think that society's expectations on women is so toxic, because if you succeed at your job, you should be happy and proud. If you succeed at being like a wonderful mother, I don't even know what that looks like. Is there even a type of wonderful mother, or are mothers wonderful in their own unique ways? Like who's measuring the success of all of this stuff? But I think the problem is that women are expected to be great at every single thing, and so that if they succeed at one aspect of their lives, then they still feel down on themselves because the other aspect of their life is not doing as well. And I think that is so dangerous. And I feel like I've had that societal expectation in my mind since I was a kid, because I remember like when I was a teenager growing up, I found it really hard to commit to anything. I found it really, really hard to commit to relationships. I found it hard to commit to jobs. I just found it really, really difficult to push myself onto the next stage of life, because I was so concerned about this weird like expectation of women to be successful in everything. And so it made me so nervous to start and to like pick something I was interested in, because I was like, what if I make what if I make the wrong choice and I end up not being good at my job? What if I start studying the wrong thing and then I decide I don't want it? I have to know exactly what I want, because I have to be the best at the thing that I'm doing. Otherwise, what is the point, you know? And that held me back so much in life. I only started going to college when I was 24 years old, because I literally couldn't get past this idea that I had to be so 100% sure about every single step I was taking in life, because it had to lead up to this like magnificent life of like complete success. And so yeah, that made me nervous to start anything, because I was like, the minute I start this thing, like I have to get on with it and I have to complete it and be the best, whatever. So yeah, anyway, it held me back. It really stopped me from wanting to execute literally anything in my life. And it also sort of made me feel this sort of pressure to be really, really, really good at one thing and not let my focus be spread into different areas of life. Like if I wanted to be a painter, I had to be like the best painter ever and I couldn't do anything else. Or if I wanted to do a podcast, I could only do a podcast and I couldn't do anything else. Otherwise, I would derail my attention to the podcast for something else, and then like I could be kind of good at various things, but I wouldn't be the best at this one thing. And I have felt like this forever. Now that I'm at an age, and at a point, not an age, I mean, now that I'm at a point in my life where I'm maybe considering having kids at some point soon, not right now, but like some point soon, these scary feelings are coming back up, because I'm not a mum yet. I don't have kids. I don't even have a dog, unfortunately. And I am nervous that I'm gonna fuck up beginning of my kid's childhood, and I have to be 100% prepared and ready to know exactly what to do in order to be the best mom ever. And it's making me not want to have kids because it's making me feel like the minute I do it, I have to be an absolute expert on everything to do with mothering. And also, is this going to derail my attention from my career? And how can I be the best at my career and best at being a mother if like my attentions are split into two different places? Like, this is all society in my brain. I have not come up with any of these ideas on my own. And I don't even fully believe in these ideas. But it's really, really scary the amount that women are just judged in society. It's insane. And it's so interesting to me that it's like still going on. I know a few moms, I know my own. And I love my mom so much. You know, we had definitely difficult times growing up, and I spent a lot of time kind of resenting her for various reasons. And then I realized when I got sober, which is when things started to change for my mental well-being, but when I got sober, I was able to think about it, and I realized like it's my mom's first time on earth as well. And we're not really meant to know everything all the time. And I could see that the pressures of being the best at everything really took a toll on my mom. And she found it really, really hard to navigate being a mom and being a model. And being a model is a really hard job because it also includes looking the best you can. Otherwise, you're not going to get hired, and then you're not going to get any money. So I feel for my mom a lot. I don't think society back then as well was any better. It was probably a lot worse than it is now. And I don't think women were given as much grace with all these things as they are now. And I don't even think we're given that much grace now as it is. So I can only imagine what it was like in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 90s. Mom back then and a supermodel. Like, I don't even know how you would juggle all of that. It's insane. I just think like the pressures on women are so extreme. And for me, it manifests in a way where it makes me not want to do anything because I don't want to start anything because I'm so concerned that if I start something, then I have to do everything completely right. I have to take every exact proper step in order to be the best at that certain aspect of my life. And it's like bullshit. It's bullshit. Every mom is different. Every single person is different. Every woman is completely different. Every woman wants different things in life. Like, having it all to each person in the world means something completely different. And I'm so sick of the judgment that women receive over things like this. And it's like we should be making our own expectations of ourselves. Like, I don't know why or who put these ideas in place that every woman on this planet should be judged with the same criteria. Because it's like, what if you don't want kids? Like, then you're failing at the mother section, but it's like you didn't want to be a mother anyway, so it doesn't really make any sense, because then you would just literally be fulfilling society's expectations of you if you had children and you didn't want them, which I'm sure a lot of people have done. And it doesn't make any sense to have to listen to society's criteria. Every person is completely different. But yeah, if you don't want kids and society is telling you you don't want kids, that you have to have kids, if you're going by society's criteria of you and you don't have children, like, you failed at one little section of life, like, didn't you? You can't succeed at that because you don't have kids. Or if you just want to be a mother and you don't want anything, you don't want to work, and you feel passionate and you feel fulfilled and happy about being a mother, and that's it, like, then you're going to fail at the career bit as well. And then, you know, it's just like, it's so hard to like satisfy society's every expectation of us, and I don't really know why we're still doing it. But I can say that even for me at 26 years old, and I have been feeling these feelings since I was like 15, they put so much pressure on people. They put so much pressure on us. And it's like, why are we forcing ourselves to live up to this fake societal expectation? Like, who is actually making these expectations? Like, who's actually written down the rule book of what women should achieve in their lives? Like, I have no idea. But I'm here to tell you it's bullshit. Because you should be making your own rules. You should be doing exactly what you want to do, what makes you happy. And you should be judging your success with your own criteria of yourself. You know, it's like, it's kind of like when nutritionists and stuff have, well, at one point they had like 1 calorie intake calculation for everyone, men and women. But every man and every woman, we're meant to have the same calorie intake, we're meant to eat the same things. And I don't quite understand how that works because everyone is completely different, and I'm sure everyone requires more or less calories or more of this nutrition and less of this. Like, people are born with diseases and people are born with problems that they had since they were born, and they have to live in accordance with that to make them feel healthy. But just because their diet requires like more grains doesn't mean everyone else's does, you know? And I think that goes the same with like having it all. I think having it all is whatever each woman's criteria is. It's okay to have criteria for yourself and feel like you're not achieving the things that you want, and that's completely different to feeling like you're not achieving the things that society are expecting you to achieve. Because I think that it's okay to have life goals, and I think it's okay to set your own goals, and I think it's okay to feel frustrated when you feel like you're not really living up to those goals. But as long as they're your own goals, and as long as they're not something society's telling you to do that you don't even really know if you want, like, I think that's okay. I think it's okay to have a little bit of fire in you, a little bit of push, a little bit of like fight to try and improve certain things in your life that you want. But I don't think that you should be putting any energy into fulfilling all of society's like little boxes. It makes absolutely no sense. Like, society says you need to have kids. Like, what if you don't want kids? Like you're not achieving anything, you know? And if you do have the kids and you didn't want them, but you did it because society is telling you had to, and you didn't really want them, and then you're going to feel like you're not really being the best mother because you didn't really want the kids in the first place. Like, it's just like so insane. And I'm really trying with myself to break from these societal expectations of me, because I am so sick of them. And it definitely feeds into that like constant needing to be productive, constant need to be making things and doing things, and it's really, really tiring. It's really tiring to be like that, and I'm getting nervous because I, at the moment, only have that within one section of my life. You know, I'm trying to be successful in my career. What happens when I have kids? Is that going to add another thing onto me, and I'm going to be freaking out about that? Like, I need to try and train myself out of these societal expectations, and it's so fucking hard because we are brought up with them. You know, we're brought up to be the best mom, to have the best career, marry a handsome man, and, you know, be like 110 pounds and blonde. I don't know, like, they're exactly where they need to be. Every person on this planet is exactly where they need to be at the right time. You're not late for anything, you're not early for anything. Like, you should be doing everything as you wish. And the only reason we get stressed about certain aspects of our lives is because there is this like fake rules list of life to be a woman, to be a successful woman. And we're trying to fulfill all of those things, but we should try and just live by our own criteria and not focus on this like fake list of things that we think that we need to do, because it's going to drive us fucking crazy. And I already feel the feelings from it. I already feel the effects of these things, and I've felt them since I was a kid. You know, becoming an adult was really, really scary to me because it felt like a rat race. Like, it felt like the minute I turned 18, had to do everything by the book. You know, start everything. And like, it doesn't really make any sense because my parents are quite unconventional people. So it doesn't really make that much sense that like I had these same pressures. But I think it is literally just society. And I think social media, there was not that much social media when I was growing up, but definitely as I got older, a lot of social media, you know, a lot of like parenting YouTube videos and TikTokers, like being moms and having a job and having all these subscribers and followers and just looking great and going like get their hair done. Like, it all kind of boils down, and it kind of adds to this pressure to act and be a certain type of way. And I'm finding it really, really tiring. And I want to talk about it today because I think that the minute I talk about something, I like put it out there, and then it makes me think about it much more. It kind of keeps me accountable, because I can think these things. I can think, oh, I'm not going to listen to society's expectations anymore of me. But, you know, I'll probably just think it and then like forget and be constantly like worrying, like how do I be the best, you know? So I think by saying it, I'm sort of telling myself like, we can't live like that. We can't do that. Like, we have to be happy. There has to be moments of like joy and fulfillment in our lives. And I think that if we are trying to constantly fill out this rules list that society gives us, we're never going to feel fulfilled. We're never going to feel happy, because the criteria doesn't actually really even exist. Like, everyone in their lives has problems, everyone in their lives struggles with things, and it's impossible to think as a human being you're not going to experience sadness, you're not going to experience failure. Like, it's crazy to think that any human being would be able to live their life like that, like just like jumping around on stars and like going out for picnics and just like making millions of dollars at the same time. Like, it's just like not really realistic. I mean, it's not realistic at all. And I think that most people don't have it all in society's expectations. I don't think people really do. So it's kind of like an unattainable thing that we're trying to achieve. And like, how is that a way to live? We're going to constantly feel unfulfilled. We're going to constantly be judging ourselves for not being 100% successful at this and that and this. Like, tiring, and we should enjoy our lives and be happy. Like, we're only here once, and I don't know. But I think we should assume right now that this is our one life and we should enjoy it as much as we can. And we shouldn't be waking up with anxiety the minute the sun comes up, because there's like 100,000 things to do in order to seem like the perfect woman, and you don't have time for all of it, but like somehow you got to get it all done in that day. Like, we can't live like that. It's like so draining. And I notice myself falling into that sort of way of thinking, and I get tired so fast of it, so exhausted. And I want to, have my life, and I want to focus on my own goals, and I'm okay with having certain goals that I want to achieve. Like, that's fine. I'm okay with having things in the future that I want that I don't have right now. That's fine. But I think it's like, it's my criteria, and I'm going to make my own criteria. And if there's things that are on the societal criteria that I don't want, I'm going to just like scratch that one out, and I don't have to worry about it. Who am I trying to impress? The societal gods? Like, they don't actually exist. I'm not really trying to prove anything to anyone. And also, if any woman is judging another woman for the way that they live, that seems insane, because I know quite a lot of women, and I'll tell you, like, all of them struggle with their own things. All of them have difficulties with certain aspects of life. And like, I don't think any woman in the world is achieving every single thing on that list and like happy every day. So I think that if we ever feel like we're judging another woman, take a step back and think like, and just like reflect on your own life and say, oh, like, is everything in my life perfect? Like, and the answer is going to be no. Like, no one's life is absolutely perfect. Perfection actually doesn't exist. And I think that if there's no societal gods that we feel are judging us, like, we just feel like we're judging each other, and we feel like other women are judging other women, and like, that is no way to be either. And I think that if you do ever find yourself sort of like sitting and thinking about a person who is older than you, who hasn't achieved what you've achieved, or doesn't have children, and you're gonna have kids, or like whatever it is, like, I think just like take a step back, sit down, have a glass of water, and just like reflect on your own life, and just think about the things that you're working on and the things that you struggle with. And I think that you can just be a much like happier, more content person that way. I think society also likes to put women against each other. They like to make us be in constant competition to be the best. And I think that if we ignore that, then we're all going to be much happier, because we're all going to be together, and we're all going to be living this crazy thing called life together. And we're not going to have any judgment or people saying we're doing this wrong or that wrong, because the minute society can get out, the societal expectations can get out of our heads, then we'll just stop judging each other, and then there's like no one really judging us. And if men decide to judge us, they can just fuck off, because that's insane. Like, you don't have to push a human at your pussy, and get a job, and like, you're not expected to do all of those things like we are. So like, if you're trying to judge us, like, good night. But as women go, it does feed in. It does feed into our brains. And I find myself looking at people and thinking these things that I hated. So I think that as time goes on, we can just sort of like get rid of these thoughts. We're not going to be judging each other, and we're going to just be focusing on ourselves much more. And then hopefully these societal expectations of women will slowly fade, and we'll be able to decide what makes us successful to ourselves and not to society, I was just feeling like I wanted to talk about that today. I made some notes. Let me see if there's anything else I missed out. Yeah, I just said, like, the myth of having it all. These are my little notes. The myth of having it all, and doesn't even exist. Like, society's expectations. Like, a society, what even is fucking society? Like, who's judging us? But somehow it's given us expectations that we need to fulfill, and I'm over it. And then career versus motherhood, like to the people that pick one or the other instead of doing both. And by the way, you can completely do both, like absolutely. There's no perfect way of doing either of the things, but like to judge someone for just picking a career or to judge someone for just picking motherhood, like is insane. Let's stop doing that, please. Let people live, like seriously. Why does it affect you at all whether what other women do? That's like what is so confusing to me. The beauty expectations, like having to look good all the time, that's bollocks. Like I go outside, no makeup and a hoodie and sweatpants basically every day, and yes, maybe when I leave the house and I've got a little makeup on and I've got a cute outfit on, maybe I feel like a little better, maybe I feel a little bit more like bougie, a little bit more like ready to take on the day, but like I don't have to feel like that every day, you know? It's fine. And without those days of hoodies and sweatpants, like I'm not really going to appreciate the days where I'm wearing makeup and like wearing a cute outfit, you know? So I need those days. I need those days where I'm like greasy, spotty, and ugly. Not ugly, we're always beautiful. But like I need those days where I'm just like in sweats, like stinky, greasy hair. Like I need those days to appreciate the days where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna put a full face of makeup on and just like slay the day away. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then I think also just to go on from that, it's like social media can be great. Like I love social media because I'm able to hear people's experiences from like real people. And before, when I was growing up, it was like the Kardashians and stuff and like reality TV, and that's where I got my perceived version of reality from, which is completely so far from the truth. But something I love about social media is that I can hear real people talk about real experiences, and it makes me so happy. And it's so wonderful to relate so hard to people that you don't even know. It's just like a wonderful feeling to hear someone talk about an experience that they've had that you feel so isolated in. But the other side of social media is that we judge each other. We judge people on likes, we judge people on subscribers, like we judge people on how they look, like how many posts they're putting up. Like I think the era of girls like posting them crying is quite interesting, because I think that was a huge like break into this new cycle of social media where we're not just posting like the good things. It's not just like a highlight reel all the time. So I do love that, but I do know that there are absolutely still people on TikTok and Instagram and everything that still, you know, trying to just make their life seem perfect in every way. And that's really hard to see sometimes, because yes, you can tell yourself as much as you want, oh, that's not real, you know, they struggle, da da da. But like when you see it at, like up like in front of you, just all the posts of them on the beach or like with all their kids or like getting an award for being like the best women in the world, like obviously you do feel a certain type of way sometimes about that, but just like try and remind yourself that it's not reality. I know a bunch of people who have millions of followers on Instagram and seem to have the best life ever, and like I know them personally and I know that that is not true, and you know, just remind yourself of that as much as you can. But I do understand that it is hard to just sort of like move away from seeing all the like positive pictures of them online. Like I get that. Okay, the competition among other women, like society is like making us battle with each other, you know, like I love makeup, I love hair products, I love all of those things, but at the end of the day, like a lot of it was made to kind of pin women against each other. Like, oh, you want eyebrows like this person, like you should buy this eyebrow product. If you want lips like this celebrity, like you should get this lip filler or this lip filler. Like I love, like, you know, people that do like little enhancements. Like I respect it. You should do whatever you want. It's your life. You should feel pretty and beautiful every day, and whatever that takes, like do it. But I'm under no impression that those things don't revel in the competition of other women, between other women, because if we didn't compete with each other, like we wouldn't want to change anything about ourselves. Like I make my eyebrows darker because I see celebrities with really dark eyebrows. If society was telling us that acne was bad, like I wouldn't be wearing this foundation. If society was saying like, oh, having like little tiny diffuse eyebrows is beautiful, like I wouldn't be wearing all the stuff on my eyebrows. Like I wouldn't be wearing mascara because it wouldn't matter. So yes, I love makeup. I love any body enhancement that, you know, people choose to get, but I'm under no impression that all of that industry is pinning women against each other at the end of the day, you know? As sort of body positive as they make it seem, like they're selling products in order for us to change our appearance. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, Anyway, my last note was challenging the narrative, and that is what I was trying to put across in this video. I think it came out a little bit like mumbo jumbo, but what I'm trying to say is that I understand, like, the societal expectations of us is tiring, it is exhausting, it's horrible, it's stupid, and it doesn't really exist. But I am here to say that I also feel the same way if you are feeling the same way. And I would love to see a change in narrative where women are making their own criteria for themselves and not judging their lives on this like fake list of things that they feel like they need to be successful at, because it's just bollocks. Doesn't mean anything, it's fake. If you don't want kids, don't have kids. If you don't want a job, don't get one. Like, as long as you're like happy and healthy and safe and fed, like, that's all that matters. I think that if we can find a new way to look at ourselves and to understand that everyone's success criteria is completely different, and we can just completely wipe out this like guideline to a woman's life, and women can just like make their own rules and decide what makes them happy and not care about what society thinks, like, I feel like this world will literally be a better place. And how can we judge other women when they want completely different lives to us, you know? Society makes us think that we should be living the same way, we should all have the same successes, and I think that if we eradicate that weird list of rules, we're not really gonna have anything to judge each other on anyway, because it's just gonna be like, oh, like, she has a job, and I have kids, like, nothing saying that she needs to have kids, so fuck it, I can't judge. Like, you know what I mean? So anyway, I was just like really thinking about that. Let's stop putting so much pressure on women. Please. Let's live, let us do our thing. Like, Jesus Christ, we're gonna do so much cool stuff. Don't you trust us? Like, we know how to make good decisions. Leave us alone, please. And you'll find that you'll be so much happier when we're happy, you know? Happy wife, happy life. I think just like that goes with just women in general, like just, well, when we're happy, like, the world is a better place. And I think to do that, we have to just stop judging everyone so hard. And we have to train ourselves to not think about this horrible list of things that we feel like we have to achieve before we die. Let's just enjoy life before we die, you know? And in any capacity that takes, let's just do that. I feel like we have to tick all these fucking boxes. Yeah. And also, like, just, you know, one last little sort of thought that is just going through my mind is like, what about the women that can't have kids? What about the women that have disabilities and they're not able to work? You know? Like, are we just failing them at life immediately because they're unable to do a couple things on the list of criteria? Like, are we just failing them at life from the go? Like, that's bollocks. I can't live in a world like that. And I'm not saying I think this podcast is going to change the world, but I just like really felt like I was holding something in, and I just wanted to talk about it so badly because I was like, what is this? Like, I think from a young age we're taught like what to do and how to be, and it's fucking tiring, you know? It's absolutely exhausting. So let's just like live our own lives. Let's just achieve the things that we want and ignore the things that we don't want anyway, and not feel like we fucking failed at life because we didn't achieve that one certain thing. Like, we didn't even want it in the first place. And if we did it, we probably would have been shit at it because we didn't want it, you know? So just like, let's stop forcing each other to do these things that don't make us feel good, you know? Like, I saw this post on Instagram the other day of this woman saying she didn't want kids, and the comments were fucking crazy. It was like people could not wrap their head around that. Like, people were going insane. What does it matter? Complete stranger just like putting her thoughts out there, and you can't help it but make a comment about it and tell you how uncomfortable that makes you feel. Like, that is bananas. That makes me feel so confused about our society and where we're headed. I do think that society has definitely improved, but like, let's like speed it up. Yeah? Let's speed it up a bit, because we want our friends to be happy, we want our mums to be happy, we want our children to be happy, we want people to be happy, and we don't want people living in this like pressure tunnel where we never feel like we're fulfilling our requirements or expectations. Like, bleh. Like, no. I want to wake up and I want to feel happy and I want to feel fulfilled no matter what I did the day before, no matter what I've already achieved, you know, I want to feel excited about the things that I could achieve. I don't want to be already upset that I didn't already achieve these things because you're meant to have kids at this age or you're meant to get a job at this age. Like, I can't do that anymore. I'm already an anxious person and I can't, like, I cannot. Even though I'm in La La Land right now, like, I'm still anxious. I can't deal with society holding me back anymore. They put these like things in place, making it seem like it's like a guideline for us that we just have to follow that and we'll have a happy life. Like, no, it does the opposite, because I don't even think I want certain things on that list that you expect of me. And now I'm stressing out because I feel like I have to achieve that thing, but I don't even want it. So it's going to be really hard for me to achieve it if I don't want it, but I have to achieve it because you told me to. I can't do it anymore. Let's just fucking be happy about everything we've achieved so far. Let's just be excited about the goals that we want. Let's not put anything else on our big full plates that we don't want. What is the purpose in that, you know? Just do whatever the fuck you want. Do whatever the fuck you want. Do whatever that makes you happy. Be a kind person. Be graceful to yourself. Be graceful to the people around you. Don't judge other people. Please don't comment on strangers' posts, negative comments anymore. Like, please. And let's just like let women live. Yeah? Let's just like let each other live. Do whatever we want. Like, we're only here once. Like, you do not want to be at the end of your life and think like, fuck, there were all these things I wanted to do, but they weren't on society's list of expectations, so I just like didn't do them. No. Like, let's just stop. I can't deal with it anymore, you know? So yeah, anyway, that's what I really wanted to talk about today. It was a major rant, but I love you guys and I don't want anyone to feel pressured, so hard not to. Like, let's work together and try and like make each other just feel good. Like, let's just like uplift each other, you know? And like, let's celebrate the smallest achievements ever. Whether it's like, I don't even know, like you made your bed in the morning or you like finally read a book that you really wanted to read for ages. Like, whatever it is, like, let's celebrate the small achievements, you know? And like, let's not overlook all of those great things that are happening in our lives just because like they're not on society's list. Okay, I think I should probably go because I have literally been talking for like too long about this, but I really love you guys and I just want us to feel good together and fuck society. Let's just enjoy our lives, you know? Let's just fucking enjoy our lives. And if that means having kids, do that. If that means getting this kick-ass job, do that. That means running off to the woods and like living by a lake and like sustaining your own lifestyle with like a farm. Let's do that. Like, let's do anything that we feel is going to make us happy, because we don't want to be at the end of our lives and think, I have so many regrets because I went through life with this guideline that society gave me and now like I didn't achieve anything that I really truly wanted to do in my heart. Like, let's not let that happen, please. There's been too many women I think have experienced that. Let's try and just like nip that in the bud right now. I love you guys so much. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. It's really helpful to me and it should be helpful to you. But I really love you guys. Sorry if that was a bit of like a mad rant. I hope it made a little bit of sense. Sometimes I just like sort of get in a role. Also, again, I am in La La Land, so I don't really have like a huge brain. What am I saying? I don't even really have a working brain right now. I don't know. Okay, I love you guys anyway. I love you guys. Thank you again for watching. God, I can't speak. Very much, and I will see you next time. Okay.